MLB The Show 23 is in Season 6, which means every single card in the game is available to use in ranked seasons. And if you've been watching the videos, we've been going over every single position in the game, going over the players that I think are the 10 best at that given position. Today, we're going to be going over one of the positions that has historically not been super loaded and only has a couple of good options. However, this year, we have a ton of great options behind the plate at catcher. With the cover athlete for MLB The Show 24 released and being Vlad Jr., I'm sure a lot of you guys are excited to get into the game, so we're coming back to MLB 23 as a final send-off. And you might be looking for a new catcher, so that's our goal in this video, to name the 10 best catchers in the game. Couple of quick disclaimers, this video is just my opinion, so if you guys like a card that's a little bit low or not on the list, keep using them. Let me know who you have been using behind the dish so far all year or recently, and let's get into the list. As we've been doing, let's get started with a couple of honorable mentions. First is going to be this 99 Will Smith. This was an all-star card. He's pretty cheap. He's only 12K, which is a big reason he's on this list, and not the postseason version of him. Great swing. The stats are pretty good. Great power versus left. Will Smith is just a fan favorite in terms of swing, especially if you ever used him in BR. And he's just a cheap option with a great swing that if you want to mix it up, he's here. Another honorable mention is this 99 Mike Zunino. Crazy statted card. Maxed out fully versus lefties and max power versus right. 104 contact right is actually really good for Mike Zunino. He had a card a couple years ago that had like 50 contact versus right and looks similar to this otherwise. Pretty good defender as well. The arm is a little bit low. This card is free as the Rays Retro Finest card in Team Affinity. 64 vision is crazy. And it's a card with some flaws, but could definitely be very fun, especially if you like high power. The exact opposite of Mike Zunino, another honorable. Joe Torre, maxed out contact, maxed out clutch. He is a full contact merchant, but he actually has some really good power. Probably the best version of Joe we've ever had with 107 and 95 power. His defense behind the plate won't be the best, and I mean, 54 speed is what it is. I've never loved this swing, but I do think the stats are worth mentioning as a secondary position player behind the plate. And the last honorable mention is going to be 99 Carlos Delgado. He's only an honorable because I do think his best position is over at first base. So if you're using him, have him there or DH. But he does have a catcher secondary, which is awesome. And his hitting stats for his righties are crazy. He has a fun swing. He's not even that bad behind the plate, although it's not ideal. There's definitely better defensive catchers, but he's not terrible behind the plate either. And it's a lefty swing, so there are honorable mentions. With those out of the way, let's go into number 10, and it's going to be 99 Finest Jorge Posada. Switch hitting catcher with a fantastic swing. Pretty good defender as well. 87 arm is definitely nice back there. More contact versus left, more power versus right. The discipline is super high, though. The clutch is definitely low, and that's probably why he's number 10. You could argue Delgado's better, and I don't know if I would argue against it. However, I think Posada's swing is so good, and the fact that he's a switch hitter behind the plate gives him a little bit of a bump. He got a couple of quirks as well. The only issue is a little expensive, around 150 to 200K. And I have a little bit of bias as a Yankee fan, so Posada for me is number 10. Coming in at number 9, we have another switch hitting catcher. This is a first base primary, so he's going to take a defensive hit behind the dish. However, it is Carlos Santana. To me, he is just a direct upgrade over Jorge. Better swing, better hitting attributes across the board. He doesn't really have any quirks outside of Rally Monkey. He is also decently expensive. But every benefit that you get out of Posada, you get with Carlos Santana in spades, and probably even more so. Just the defense will take a small step back. The clutch being significantly higher definitely bumps him up over Posada. And for me, Carlos is going to be number 9. Coming in at number 8, one of the hotter takes probably on this list, but it's going to be 99 Mike Napoli. This card is absolutely stacked. He literally looks like a Babe Ruth Jr. in terms of his hitting stats. 120s across the board, including clutch. The only thing below it is vision and discipline, but discipline's still pretty high. 45 speed is on the slower end for catchers for sure, and his defense is not great at all. He does have a bunch of quirks, which make him even better as a hitter. One of my issues, though, is I've never liked Mike Napoli's swing all that much. He's definitely a hit or miss card for a lot of people. And so just because of like the streaky nature and his not super good swing, I'm going to have him a little bit lower at number 8. But as a hitter, this is just one of the 10 best statted hitting cards in the game, period. Coming in at number 7, we have essentially what I consider personally the left-handed Mike Napoli. Kyle Schwarber, he has a secondary at catcher. He plays a couple other positions as well. Maxed out power versus both sides, 111, 100 versus righty and lefty. I do think this is the best version of the Kyle Schwarber cards as well, which works out great because this is one that's purchasable for only 37 to 70-ish K. And even if some of the other variants are better, they do take a little bit of a grind to get. So if you don't have them, this card is an easy purchase. Amazing swing on a Kyle Schwarber with the max power. He is such a good power hitter in this game. Balls explode off his bat. He kind of suffers from the same thing that Mike Napoli does, where the defense is definitely not good at all. He'll definitely be serviceable behind the dish, but there are a couple options with similar bats that are way better defensively. So because of that, Kyle Schwarber is going to be number 7. Coming in at number 6, we have 99 Kaiju Joe Mauer. Joe Mauer just got into the Hall of Fame, so congratulations to Joe. And his card looks like a Hall of Fame card, if you ask me. There's a pretty significant jump, in my opinion, from Schwarber at number 7 to all the cards on the rest of this list, including Mauer at number 6. Mauer, maxed out contact, maxed out clutch, 116 and 100 power is insane for a Joe Mauer card. He does make durability team as well. Pretty much maxed out defensively. I mean, after 2 parallels, he has max fielding, arm, and blocking. And 72 speed at catcher is definitely on the higher end for catchers. Got a handful of quirks as well. One of the biggest flaws that people have with Joe Mauer is he's a little bit on the taller side, 6'5". So if you don't like tall hitters, he's definitely not ideal for that. And for a lefty swing, it's not the best. It's somewhere in terms of the middle of the road. So like a Schwarber has a better swing, but I think Mauer is so much better statted, especially for behind the dish, that I have to put Mauer at number 6. Coming in at number 5, we have this 99 William Contreras. William Contreras has had a couple of breakout seasons as a hitter, and this year he was even pretty decent defensively over in Milwaukee. This card is maxed out versus left, max contact and 102 power versus right, max clutch. Really solid hitting card. 92 fielding, strong arm, good reaction, like the blocking is great. This is a really solid defensive catcher as well, and you're getting a fantastic bat. Got a handful of quirks as well, so there's a collection reward for set 5, so there's a decent chance you've probably put him off towards the end in that collection if you haven't done it already. To me, he's also the worst of the collection catchers. There are a couple others that we'll talk about in a second. And I can't fully vouch for his swing. I haven't used him a whole lot. Contreras truthers in the comments, let me know how much you like it or dislike his swing. But the card stat-wise is fantastic, and he has to be number 5. We took a quick break from some switch hitters, but we are back. Number 4 is Finest Yasmani Grandal. Fantastic swing. If you've played co-op, you've probably used a ton of Yasmani Grandal's gold card. And if you did well with that, you'll do fantastic with this one. Maxed out power versus both sides, 110 clutch, really good hitting stats across the board for a switch hitter. 93 fielding, 83 arm. Just, I can't believe they gave Grandal that good of defensive stats. This is a solid catcher, and he has good offensive stats, so he brings it all to the table. The singular biggest flaw with this card is 23 speed is borderline unusable. 23 speed actually just clogs up the field, and despite the blocking and the fielding, if a ball gets by him, it's actually way harder to get anybody out, especially at the plate with Yasmani there. And with just how good the handful of cards are above him, I can't put Yasmani any higher than number 4. Coming in at number 3, we have the 50 Home Run Club Jimmy Fox card. Great card art. Jimmy Fox is one of the best hitters of all time. First base, third base, and catcher primary, and realistically, he's one of the best options at all of those positions. But to get a card with this good of stats behind the dish is just an honor, and his swing is chef's kiss. He has 9 different offensive hitting quirks, and again, it's because he's one of the best hitters ever. He's a set 4 collection, so if you just got into the game, there's a decent chance you don't have him. Set 4 is probably one of the least done collections of the year. And then the only real drawback is that he is a first base primary, so he will take a hit defensively. And I know I've had a lot of praise for defensive catchers. However, Jimmy's swing is so good to me that he actually makes up for what he might lack in terms of a defensive catcher, even though he's still okay behind the dish. And to me, the only way this card could be better is if he was a switch hitter. So, Jimmy Fox, you are number 3. Speaking of switch hitters, we have the 99 overall Cal Raleigh at number 2 for catchers in this game. And I never thought Cal Raleigh would have a card this good, but the Big Dumper had a great breakout season for the Mariners. And this 110, 125, 101, 121 proves that. The hitting stats are awesome. The big issue I have is the clutch is definitely a little bit low. Maxed out fielding, 94 arm is awesome. And even 60 speed is, again, on the better side of speed for catchers. Switch hitting bat, he has a handful of quirks, but nothing too crazy. And the biggest selling point for Cal Raleigh is this is probably the singular best card you can pick up for your price in the entire game. 10,000 stubs gets you a catcher that switch hits with almost max power and 99 defense. 10k stubs, that's it. A lot of other cards in this list are collection rewards or a couple hundreds of thousands of stubs, and if that's something that you're trying to put stubs into other positions because you feel like you need to upgrade there, this card will make your team the best for the cheapest amount. Now, the guy ahead of him is simply just better, but because of the price and the great stats, Cal Raleigh is number 2. And number 1, to nobody's surprise, is the 99 overall Adley Rutschman, specifically the All-Star Series card. This card actually is a smidge better, but essentially Adley has 100 power plus versus both sides, almost 120 contact versus both sides, and maxed out clutch. He's the perfect defender behind the plate as well, and a switch hitter with a great swing. A lot of things that I've been saying about every other card in this game and on this list, he has that. He has a bunch of quirks as well. You would think he's a legend with how many great ones he has, like Dead Red. 63 speed, again, very good. He is a collection reward as well, but this was around set 3, so there's a decent chance you have him if you've been playing all year. But if you don't, I'm showing the finest Adley Rutschman right here. Again, you can kind of see the stats are definitely a little bit worse in the power and the contact versus right. However, if you don't have that collection and you do really want Adley, this one right here is 140 to 200k stubs. And really, if you had to picture perfect, make the perfect catcher in this game, this really just might be it. And nobody ever steals off Adley because it's really, really annoying to try to. And that's going to do it, guys. Those are the 10 best catchers in the entire game for MLB The Show 23. Again, MLB The Show 24 is just around the corner. We're going to be getting a ton of news about that in the coming days and weeks, and I'll be up there to try and get you guys up to date on what's going on with that. In the meantime, go and play some MLB 23, get your last hurrahs, and hopefully your team is looking fantastic with this list and some of my others that you should check out right now on my channel. Like and subscribe down below and let me know who you guys are using, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which is going to be outfielders. Peace.